This is the Two Scrappy Chicks podcast where life is messy, the stories are real, and we dare to talk about it anyway.
All right, Real Housewives of London, take two. I hope this computer's not going to do like it did a couple weeks ago where it just keeps cutting me off. Freaking internet, I tell ya. Okay, two episodes. Doing it now because it did not record episode 3. I don't know why. So I had to wait for today. All right, so we start out with Amanda walking her poodle in the park, and her and Panthea meet up and they talk about dinner the night before. Amanda tells her, I want to get to know each other better and not dwell in the past. And apparently, Panthea likes to gossip and hangs out with women that gossip. And Amanda set her straight and said 10% of the company that was owned. Um, I don't know if it was her husband that owned or if they both owned it. Maybe it was her husband that owned it. But when it sold, she got 10%. Panthea, Panthea doesn't believe it all. So next we have Karen. She's at the market with her daughter. Karen's from Jamaica and she's feeling home. When she's feeling homesick, she likes to go to the market. Next we have Juliet. She has her vocal coach over. Juliet used to be a singer. She has a great voice. And then Nessie comes over and she wants to invite all the ladies to the house in Cotswold. And it is 2.5 thousand acres. That's huge. Next, we see Panthea going to the salon with her mom. And Panthea admits she goes she goes for a blowout every 5 days, but she doesn't own shampoo or conditioner or a brush. And and I'm thinking, okay, so if you go every 5 days for a blowout, and then you do your own blowouts at home, so when and where do you get your hair washed? I'd like to know. Her mom makes a comment that she's lost a lot of weight, and Panthea says she needs a facelift. And then they start talking about Iran. They left in 1979. Excuse me. Panthea's mom was working for the Queen of Iran, but they had to leave the country, and the grandfather paid for everything for them for 8 years. And then after that, he said, you need to come back. Well, her dad did go back, and her mom didn't, and she never did see him again. And so Panthea wants to host an Iranian party because she wants to share her culture with the ladies. She also was telling her mom she wants to share that same culture with the kids because they just had their Iranian New Year. So the dinner that she's having is at a Persian restaurant, and Panthea arrives and brings her friend Affy. Of course, she arrives first because it's her party. Um, and then Karen arrives, and Panthea offers her the dough sparkling water with mint and yogurt. I don't know if that sounds appetizing. And Karen declines. She goes, I don't do dairy. Amanda shows up with her friend Gina. So then they have Persian belly dancers. And then all the ladies get up and they're dancing. Panthea thinks Karen dances too sexual with her boobs. Well, Karen's got big boobs. Karen says, Panthea, her her dancing is just too stiff. So, Karen says she's picked up on the other side of Panthea that she's focused on herself. It's Panthea, Panthea, Panthea. 'Cause she went to Panthea's house and didn't feel like welcome there. And it was all about Panthea. And she called Panthea a narcissist. Okay, got cut off. I hope it doesn't do this all day. I mean, all night. I'll be here all night. Okay, Panthea, call her a narcissist because of the way she was acting. That she never asked about Karen. So that didn't go over well. So next, Nessie told the ladies to bring a red dress when they come to the Cotswold. 50 Shades of Red, I think she's calling it. So everybody is packing, and Nessie sends a message that she's sending a helicopter to pick them up. Karen does not want to take a helicopter. It's kind of scary. So she opts to take a car. And nobody is going, well, none of the girls will be staying at the house because the rooms are being refurbished. So she's having them stay at a luxurious hotel nearby. And Nessie said that the Beckhams, Ellen DeGeneres, the Royals all have a house there in the Cotswold, that new money is north, old money is south, and that Nessie's in the middle. So when the girls get there, they're greeted by Nessie, and she says, I want you to meet my friend, Sir Henry. He's the owner of the estate, and he had served the late queen. He was her right-hand man, and he gave them a tour, and Juliet climbed a tree. And then Nessie had a talk with Panthea and said, just promise me you're going to have a good time, because she didn't want no drama there. And then they had competitions. I mean, this must be a thing in London. Cheese roll competition. This was literally like a wheel of cheese, and you roll it down the hill, and whoever gets it at first, I guess, wins. Juliet and Panthea were like neck and neck, and Panthea ends up tripping and falling, and Juliet wins. Then they had welly winging. It looked like boots. So whoever throws the boots the furthest. So Karen won the first time, Nessie won the second time. So the ladies check into the hotel and they get ready, and then they get on a bus to come back to Nessie's house. And Nessie is playing the piano, and she's in the room, and she could see out the window that the bus pulled up, and that's the room that they're going to have dinner. And Karen and Panthea are just going at it, and Karen thinks Panthea's not a lady, and they're arguing on the bus. And I'm thinking, they're parked in the driveway. Why are they arguing on the bus? Why are they still in there? And Sir Henry was waiting to greet them. So Nessie's like, this is embarrassing. So it ends there. And then we pick up in episode 4. And that's when they finally get out of the bus and they go inside. And beautiful table, and they have violinists, and they sit down, And Karen mentions that her and her hubby were invited to tea at the palace, Buckingham Palace, with Princess Anne. And Panthea is invited to the garden party, and she said it's exclusive. And I don't know. I guess they're trying to one up each other. So the reason why Nessie had everyone wear a red dress, she said it represents fire, love, anger, and passionate. And then she had a secret box of questions. And she asked who has faked an orgasm. Panthea said she did with her ex-husband. And this is where, Amanda's like, not appropriate. And Karen's like, I'm a lady. And then she asked who would swap lies. Karen says Amanda, 'cause she feels she's strong, a strong businesswoman, quirky, and there's a mystery about her. Amanda says Karen, that she has an amazing family, husband, and loves her home. And then they asked who has gotten arrested, and Juliet pipes up. And apparently she got arrested during her honeymoon. And it's funny because they kind of show the story go on and on and on, and people like losing interest. And I guess the short version is her passport wasn't stamped as she exited. Okay. Nessie said she trusts Juliet. And then just when you think, oh, this is a nice dinner, Karen and Panthea are going at each other, taking jabs at each other. And then we have the violinists come back in to save the day. And then the girls are up dancing. So I wonder if this is a thing that they do dancing at dinner parties, because I don't see it in the American Housewives. So back to the hotel the girls go the next day. Uh, they are um, I'm sorry, Amanda's checking on her dog Monty. Karen checking in with her daughter. And then they go to back to Nessie's house, and they're having breakfast, and looks like a greenhouse. And of course, it's all done up. And Nessie cooked this time, and she made fresh croissants. They looked amazing. And then she said, half of us are going to the shops, half are going to the alpaca walking. And Panthea announced that she'd be leaving after breakfast. She has an invite to the palace. And of course, pulls out the invite to show everyone. Then Karen asked Panthea to chat. So apparently, around midnight, Panthea texted Karen and apologized and didn't want to go to bed, bad feelings. And Karen wanted to address it with her in person. And she's like, I don't want to fight. We are alike. And I'm sorry that I called you that. I wish I could take it back, but I just didn't feel like you listened to me. So they make up, and then Panthea is on her way. So Juliet and Gina go shopping, and Nessie, Amanda, and Karen go walk an alpaca, and they're taking them on a walk. And it's funny because Karen's alpaca is named Orlando, and she says, he's really reminding me of Panthea right now. So, don't really know what Juliet and Gina bought shopping. I only seen one store they went in, seemed like it was a jewelry store, and then they went to eat. Then it was time for dinner, and Nessie got vintage cars, but everyone had to link up with with another person. Nessie had her own car, and it was stick. And I'm just like, huh, I haven't drove stick in a long time, and I wonder if it's something that if you haven't driven it, it will come back to you. All right. So the reason why Nessie had the classic cars is that she does about 2 car rallies a year. And then they made a comment that it's quiet without Panthea. And then Nessie told everyone, I did go to lunch with Panthea, and she has shared with me what she has gone through in her life. So she shares it with the girls. And I covered it. Um, I think maybe in the last podcast. And it, I think she pretty much tells them how, they came here from Iran, and then her dad, left them, and it was just her and her mom. So she feels, she's got abandonment issues. And then I think Amanda said her dad, growing up, she was like a country girl, that her dad was like a plastic surgeon. And Karen said she lived with her mom till 9. And then her mom one day took her to her dad's and left and said she would come back for her when she was 12. And then Karen says she doesn't dwell in the past. And she has since then, seen her mom and has forgiven her. And that her mom comes around and says she's a wonderful grandmother. So then the next day, it's time to go back home. And the girls in the hotel, they're like, "Have you seen Karen?" No. So Karen did leave without saying goodbye to him. Apparently, they did have a good time in the room before everyone went to bed. But then Juliet says, "Did you see what she posted on Instagram?" And I took a screenshot of it so I could read it. So apparently, like an hour after they were having a good time in the room, Karen went back to her room and posted this on her Instagram. And it says, "How to catch a fish, give them bait. Sometimes you got to be brutal to see the real ones. It might feel like betrayal, but it's not. Trust the process. Play the fool to catch the wanna be wise, pretending to be real." So now the girls are all looking at each other like, what the heck? They're confused. And then now they're questioning her story she told of her childhood. And next week, I mean, we'll see if we get an answer, but we do meet the other Juliet. This is the American Juliet, and I think she's friends with Amanda, but it looks like it gets heated at a luncheon or dinner or whatever. So yeah, I like the London ladies. They seem to have some good banter back and forth. If if I were to pick who is my favorite, I would say Nessie. She um she seems to be the most level-headed and clear-thinking one out of all of them. Not to say none of the rest do. I don't know. She just stands out, and she just seems very prim and proper and a lady. So yeah. So, I don't know if it's 2 episodes again next week. I don't know why there were 2 episodes. Maybe to show what happened in England or the Cotswold. I don't know. But okay. So till next week, and hopefully my DVR knows, hey, I gotta record this. Otherwise, I gotta wait the next day. All right. Till next time. See ya. And why? Okay, now I'm stopping recording. Bye-bye. We really appreciate you hanging out with the two scrappy chicks today. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, download, and share it with a friend. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, just let us know.